it up here in Doncaster. Fellow drinkers, fellow CAMRA members, and people who just occasionally likes a tipple. It is with great pleasure today that I have been asked to cry. Let me just give you some numbers. In 1971, there was people of this country who liked to tipple and formed a society called CAMRA. When my Auntie Mon was on about my cousin Keith and CAMRA, I didn't know what she meant. I didn't know what she meant. But I finally realised it's the campaign for real ale. In 1975, the people of Doncaster decided to join this merry band of drinkers, of which Bob is the local chairperson. Is that because he can't stand up after a couple? I don't know. And in 2012, Ian here, after years of sampling other people's beer, decided to create a beer or two. It has only taken him 3 years to become publican of the season. But if I tell you much more, Bob here won't have anything to say. So in the meantime, I'll be quiet if I can, and I hand you over to the chairman of Doncaster CAMRA, Ian.
Well, follow that, as they say. The first time, I don't know how many of you shared this experience. The first time I visited that lock-up in Kirksandall, where we was, that way out of town, and I sampled the beer that Ian was brewing, and I had a look round the brewery. It was pretty clear at that stage that before very long, they were either going to go bust or they were going to earn some accolades for the beer. It had got to be one or the other sooner or later, hadn't it?
It has. And I also add, and he's going to swear at me, at 11-year-old, his beer was just as good, and we had the most fantastic party.
I can believe that. Many of you will have noted, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you will have noticed that quite clearly a very expensive consultancy has invested hours and hours of imaginative thinking into the development of the name of this brewery. It's actually, in fact, the name is not quite as simple as it at first appears. It really does reflect a driving ambition to build a business that contributes to putting Doncaster on the map. And Ian and Alison were both born in Doncaster. They've always lived here. And when Ian decided to give up his garage business in 2012 and take the... That's all the drink does for you. 2012. And they set about taking what was a not inconsiderable risk, I think you'll agree, of a complete change of direction and fulfil his long-standing ambition. He and Alison set about building a business that would really make a difference to Doncaster. The names of their beers all reflect that. I'm sure you've noticed that. There's something about the town in every one. Town Fields, First Aviation, Mansion House, that sort of thing. Pretty straightforward. Less obvious is the 1194 Charter Porter. If you drunk that, an excellent beer. 1194 is the first surviving charter, royal charter, still existing in the Doncaster archives, given to the town by Richard I, Richard the Lionheart. A long time ago. The Sand House. I don't know how many of you know about that. It celebrates a prominent feature in Doncaster history from the 1850s onwards until the Second World War, really. I don't know what happened to it in the end. You know what happened to it.
They built some flats on it.
They built flats over the top of it.
Built it with concrete and built some flats.
And, but in the Victorian times, the geezer built himself a mansion by chiselling it out of a large piece of sandstone, the sandstone house, the sand house. So it was mansion-sized. It was a dwelling carved from solid sandstone. Amazing piece of Victorian, I don't know, bizarreness.
Eccentricity.
Eccentricity, that's the word, isn't it? So one way and another, these guys are fulfilling that ambition that they had, and they're fulfilling it in spades. What a tremendous asset this brewery has become to the town. It's the brewery, this associated brewery tap. I've no doubt at all that this is going on from strength to strength. It's absolutely a brilliant asset for Doncaster. They started the move here, I'm sure you know, in January 2014. I mean, how long ago is that? Not very long. And the brewery itself arrived in May. That's only 12 months ago, for goodness sake. It's a 15-barrel brewery at the back there, if you haven't had a look. I mean, it's worth a quick look if you haven't seen it already. 15 barrels means, in effect, that one batch of beer is 15 barrels. Now, 15 barrels is 4, what you and I might call a barrel, you know, firkin, the 9-gallon, the standard size ones. 4 of them is, you know, technically a barrel. And if you multiply that up with 8 pints, 8 gallons to a firkin, and 4 firkins to a barrel, and 8 pints, and whatever it is, it comes to a lot. It's actually 4,320 pints. So Ian here is brewing 4,320 pints at a time. That's what that means. That's the size of the brewery he's got here. Okay, since they moved in here, they'll take the window out to get it all in. Since they've moved here, it's grown and developed to what it is today. It's a brilliant community pub, isn't it, today? You, as the customer, you come in as a customer, but by the time you leave, you're a friend. Ian and Alison are the sort of licensees who give you a warm welcome. It's always a warm welcome to their customers. They actually engage you in conversation, if you can be heard. And it's a pub with all sorts of things going on. The Morris Men we've seen tonight, isn't that brilliant? What an atmosphere that creates. Absolutely brilliant. There's the Phantom Cinema upstairs, the spoken word evenings, there's live music like we've heard tonight. Thank you for that. A friendly bunch of regulars who always talk to you. They won't talk to me, but they'll talk to you. There's always good conversation. There's always good humour here. It's a brilliant place to come. There's usually a guest ale. There's a range of real ciders. Something of a speciality of the house is real ciders and perries here. And of course, for CAMRA, the bottom line is the range and the quality of the beers. And always a superb and a varied collection. Always reliably high quality. Always interesting. Always depth of flavour and a whole bunch of stuff to enjoy. It's a really great place to come for a beer. I think these guys, to be honest, I do. Alison sort of, I think, is still serving at the bar. I really do think these guys ought to be offered the most heartfelt congratulations on what they've achieved in such a short time. It's absolutely made themselves a really significant feature of this town. They keep popping up anywhere you go. I happened to be in the Doncaster Tourist Information Centre yesterday. There they are, Doncaster beers all lined up nicely on the side there. Wherever you go, you hear of them. They're really making a name for themselves so quickly. So now this evening, ladies and gentlemen, Doncaster CAMRA is here to recognise and to honour this achievement and to wish you, Ian and Alison, to wish you more and more success in the years to come. So, please, would you all join with me in expressing your appreciation of everything about this establishment, particularly the beers that are brewed here. And I have this award to present, ladies and gentlemen, the Doncaster CAMRA Pub of the Season, to Alison, Ian and the Doncaster...
I hear
What's so small? I'm not very good at this. Pages. Reams.
the microphone, though.
Right, I've got a couple more. Thank you all for coming. Yeah, I'm very quiet. Bear with me. I ramble a bit. Alison and I were very surprised to be voted Spring Club of the Season. I'm very pleased also, as at the time we had only been open for just about a year, and both new to the trade. We'd never run a pub. We enjoyed pubs. Knew what we wanted from a pub. Knew about beer. So we just sort of had a look at what ought to be done and went about how it should be done. So as reflected in the reward. I'm struggling with my words. This past year has been a bit of a roller coaster. Fortunately, more ups than downs, but it's been a great year, and it's good to consistently see new faces from week to week. There's constantly new people coming in. Even last night we had a honeymooning couple from Pennsylvania who looked us up on TripAdvisor and came for a pint and stayed for several. And then towards the end of the evening, some chaps turned up at 10 to 10. He's still serving. I suppose so. And half a dozen Germans walked in.
Oh my God, I work with those.
So last night we saw some definite new faces. The support we've had from everybody has been overwhelming, and we're both humbled and very, very pleased from all the help that we've had and all the offers of help that we consistently receive for things that we're doing and things that need doing. If it wasn't for you all, we certainly wouldn't have got to where we are at this particular point. We'd have probably still been at Clay Lane, actually, which wouldn't have been good. Although I'm fully aware that the toilets aren't yet finished. I had to sit when I used it early. Despite being closed for a week in January in which to do them. However, I do promise they will be finished quite soon. But I seem to keep running out of a bit of time. You buggers keep running drinking beer. So, fortunately, importantly, we haven't run out of beer yet. So that's all right. But the trouble is, the busier we get, the more beer I have to brew. So I end up with less time for doing the other things that I was going to be doing. Enviable position to be in, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, where did I get to? Time to go on to all stuff. There we go, I'm never happy. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Thank you for the donations. While I have all your rapt attention, can I read a few parish notices?